Welcome to lesson 2 on tones and intonations in Pinyin language. You probably realise Chinese language is tonal, and it does have tones. Chinese language branches down to Cantonese and Mandarin. Mandarin has 4 tones, but in fact it actually has 5 tones, where 4 of them are the main ones. The 5th is the neutral tone, which we'll look at in this slide, and obviously it branches down also to Cantonese, the earliest language spoken in China. And Cantonese has 6 tones, and it's based on the first 2 tones of Mandarin Chinese. The tones in Pinyin, these are the 4 main tones. So first tone, or tone number 1, is a flat pitch tone. So the pitch doesn't really change and it remains high. It's high pitched and remains high. Tone number 2 is out of a rising pitch. The pitch rises and it goes from the middle part, so it's not very high, very low, mid part of the pitch graph, all the way to a high pitch. So it's sort of not low, not high, and it goes up. Tone 3 is one that's very tricky because it falls and then rises in pitch. The starting pitch is low, it goes even lower to a minima, the very, very low pitched, and then it goes up relatively high past the starting pitch. And the 4th tone is this falling tone. And obviously you can see that these tones are marked on the graph, and this might help. And you probably didn't realise that, in English, that it's actually fairly tonal as well. A lot of the words you say, depending on your accent, you probably realise, like maybe, in fact, m, a, b. The b, the b is of the 3rd tone. So it's always best, if you've struggled with tones, to actually use English alternatives to it and practice with them first, like maybe, that, see, and hey, it goes up, and I would recommend this because when the next lessons, next few lessons, we're going to move on quite fast with some of the topics we're going to look at, because I really want to get onto the basic parts, because this is just the basic of the basic of the basic that you've got to know. And on lesson 6, we're going to start something completely fresh. After lesson 5, there will be a continuous assessment, which is like a short exam. It'll be mainly multiple choice and a few easy written questions. And I will provide the sheets myself and upload them onto Google. Obviously not YouTube, because I can't do that. And as soon as you've done the exam, give me a shout through email or Google+, and I will provide you with the answers. Anything you're sure of, do email me, follow me on Google+, and always give me a call on Google, of course, and we can always go through a webcam, and I can always explain some of the stuff with you in the meantime. But you'd be glad to know that tones of Mandarin Chinese are used on vowels only, and we've been looking at in the previous lesson 1, obviously these vowels. There are only 6 main vowels, and the 6 main vowels can be combined. You wouldn't have 2 tone markers when there's 2 vowels. You'd really have 1, and it can go on any of the vowels. This row here is actually showing the neutral tone vowel, or we call the toneless tone, and I will go through that in a little bit more depth in the next few slides. So, okay, tone use. So if I just pronounce them once, you can just listen to how it should sound, and then you can repeat after me. There are obviously rules with tone use, because in particular this I character and the U character, when combined, the tone will change a little bit depending on what context it's been used in, because it can have all sorts of sounds. It has many sounds in particular. Some words rarely used, some words actually used quite often. OA is something that we use quite a lot, the O and the A, which is O and the A. We use quite a lot, and in particular. And as I said, with the tones, don't worry about the graph for now as such, because everybody has a different tone. Boys and men obviously have a lower pitch voice, so you're likely to say like me with low pitch. The women are the ones that can have high pitched, so don't really worry about what starting pitch you're at, as long as you maintain that unchanged tone for tone 1 and the rising tone for tone 2 and a fall and then rise for tone 3 and then the falling tone for tone 4. You don't really have to worry about how high the pitch should be, just for the time being. And obviously you realise my voice is very low, and again, it makes no difference when you speak the language. So if I just pronounce them, and I'll point to each one, and I'll probably move my cursor, and the movement of the cursor will show the tone. Okay, the first one is ah, ah. Second one is ah, ah. The third one is ah, ah. The fourth one is ah, ah. Now you can repeat after me. I will say them twice, and you repeat after each time. So ah, 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 ah. Okay, next one. Eh, 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 eh. Okay, I'm just going to repeat it again, and just repeat after me. Eh, 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 eh. The E sound is sort of between actual AE sound and an E sound, so it's not E or A, like that, but it's E. So you have the A and the E sound together. The I is a double E sound, so as I said, E, 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 E. Repeat after me this time. E, 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 E. Next one is O, 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 O. Repeat after me this time. O, 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 O. Next one. U, 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 U. Repeat after me this time. U, 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 우, 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 우. Next one is ü, 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 ü. Repeat after me this time. Ü, 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 ü. Apologies to what happened then with the little window at the top. Sometimes this just randomly occurs on my computer. That's kind of one of the technical difficulties I faced. And I'm sorry that lesson 2 was delayed. But oh well. Example of tone use in the Chinese language. Obviously there are lots. You've got this website you can go on. So if you click that, it will take you to something hopefully like this. I'll go through the tone pair chart very soon. So this is what it should take you to. This chart here is a massive chart, actually, in fact, very useful because it gives you all 4 tones and some of the combinations we have. Do not try and memorize this because there are some that we don't really use a lot and they're actually part of dialects. Now, I'm of Northern dialect, so some of them I don't really use as much as others. You can have there are a lot of dialects in mainland China, Mandarin. Some of them are used in the dialect, in certain dialects, some of them are not. So I wouldn't bother just, memorizing this. But if you want to know how it should sound, just click it and you can actually hear it. Obviously it sounds like that. Obviously this one you can actually figure out. This last 3, a lot of people technically struggle. And if I just play the first 3, so it's qi, 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 and the next one is xia, qia, jia, qiao, qiao, jiao, xie, qie, jie, because it's a shi, qi, ji sound, ji, qi, xi that we were looking at. Back to the presentation. So again, this tone chart is just very useful just to actually illustrate out the tones that we have. So there are 16 different combination of tones that we have. These numbers on the side represent the tone numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the 5th one that's included here, you obviously realise that the second character that represents the second character there is actually toneless. It's of neutral tones, so we don't represent anything on the vowel. So we don't use any tone markers to represent the tone for the vowel. And in particular, I've included this example in the next slide. So I'm just going to read through all of these very slowly and explain to you what it's about. So this tone chart, there are in fact 16 main ones, and we've got 4 other ones, which includes the 5th tone. So there are 20 in total, as I said. So we can have 1 plus 1 tone, which is tone 1 and tone 1 together, which is like Jin Tian. So Jin Tian, which means today. It means today. Jin Tian. We can have 1 plus 2, so tone 1, tone 2 together, like as in the Chinese equivalents to China, which is 中国, 中国. Next one is tone 1 and tone 3 together, as in like ice water or frozen water. So it's 冰水. 冰水. Now, if you realise there might be more than one vowel with the first three we looked at, there's no sort of rule regarding where the tone should be. It is based upon the character and the meaning that we're going to use it in. And pinyin itself, if you memorize the combinations that I just shown you on that chart, other chart, it's good because you know the sound, but as on the other hand, there are other ones that can be quite complicated to pronounce that we'll look at probably past lessons 10, and we're going to look at complex characters and how we can figure out the sounds to them. A lot of the times you just got to memorize the sound to what character represents that sound. You can have tone 1 and 4 together, like as in to know, like 知道, 知道. You can have tone 1 and 5, which is first tone and neutral tone, so like really, you know, as in basically like as in a Chinese alternative for really, or we call people with the accent, is that really real? Even like 真的, 真的. I'll go through this thing about the fifth tone and what characters actually have that in the next coming slides, so you don't worry now. We can have tone 2 and 1 combination, as in for the Chinese translation for tomorrow, which is 明天, 明天. We can have tone 2 and tone 2 together, as in next year. 明年, 明年. I apologise for the fact that the tone marker is not very clear. It should be the tone marker for the second tone, which is of the rising tone, which is like the French accents. Okay, 明年 as in next year for as in Chinese. The Chinese equivalents for next year, which means 明年. Tone 2 and 3, we can add them together. Tone 3 is the one that has the inverted circumflex, which is known as the caron in European languages, and in particular we use it like in beer, as in the Chinese translation of the English word beer, as in drink beer. It's 啤酒, 啤酒. 酒 has a lot of contexts, as in the number 9 is also called 酒, and something, if it's you're waiting for a long time, you can call it 很久, so like a long time means 很久. The 久 is used in a lot of context. Next one, 2 plus 4 tone, so tone 2 and tone 4, like as in easy. The Chinese characters for easy, words for easy is 容易, 容易. Tone 2 plus 5, so tone 2 and the neutral tone can be added together for the Chinese phrase for what, which is 什么, 什么. Tone 3 and 1 together makes 喜欢, as in to like, so to like something. 喜欢, and to get up is of an example of tone 3 and tone 2, which is 起床, 起床, 起床. Notice that the X and Q characters, xi and qi, are more aspirated than spat out. So we don't really spit the character out, we just say xi, qi, like sh. We have that sh like feeling to it. I hope you actually pay attention, because the pinyin stuff will go after lesson 8. So because it's very unuseful to use romanization, as in like Korean and Japanese. English is not very good to use in that language. And again, tone 3 and tone 3, example of that, hello really, like hello in Chinese is 你好, 你好. And I'll go through the greetings because hello takes 2 forms. So you've got to be careful which one you use. Next one, like stir-fried rice. For tone 3 and 4, we can have something like stir-fried rice as an example. 炒饭, 炒饭. Tone 3 and the neutral tone can go together, as in the Chinese translation for mine or mine. So if it's my stuff or that's mine, we just say 我的, 我的. Tone 4 and tone 1. Example of that is as in the Chinese characters for bread. 面包, 面包. Tone 4 and tone 2. Example of that is like the Chinese translation for question. 问题, 问题. Some people pronounce it 问题, some say 问题. I pronounce it 问题, 问题. Next one, tone 4 and tone 3. Example of that is the Chinese characters for here, as in I am here. So it's here, it's in this place, as in that. Not the hearing here, but here as in you are here, you are in the room, I'm here in the room. So it means it's 这里, 这里, 这里. And also 里 as it can mean inside, or it can be someone's surname as well. But those are all different characters. Next one, tone 4 and tone 4. It's like 再见, 再见, as in see you later, bye bye. See you later is the shortened version is 再见, but we just say goodbye as in 再见. So it's 再见. Next one, tone 4 and tone 5 together, as in thanks or thank you. Thanks is a short alternative. It's 谢谢, 谢谢. Do not worry too much about the characters for now, because we're going to look at greetings in lesson 5, 6-ish, where we will also look at numbers. Greetings, there are more than one form, as in most languages like that. Most of the Asian language, I should say. But I won't go through it here. This is just do tone use. And you probably realise when we combine the tones, they produce actually a unique sound in particular when we listen to it. So if I just say 容易, if you actually, when we get, you get more fluent in Mandarin Chinese, you'll probably be saying things very fast, like me, 明年啤酒容易什么? And you probably realise when you say it more fluently and more fast that there's a fluctuation in the tone and the pitch of that sound produced when you're actually saying it. And that fluctuation, especially when you actually identify it, is known as the intonation. Intonation. And it's very commonly used, and all the time you probably hear it. If someone has an accent speaking it, then you probably not realise it much, but a native speaker of Mandarin Chinese like me, when we speak, we have that intonation in place, and it's more often commonly seen in sentences. So when we come to look at sentences, use of verbs, sentence order, and how to construct a sentence and say it, and also in conversations, you probably realise that there are intonations, and it's very clear. A lot of people just say it's like singing a song, and it is literally. Okay, the next part is the special cases. Again, I've put intonation here as well. These are just a combination of 10 of 20 actually we have at least 20. Mostly you can see the 9 of them are included are special ones because they are family members and we're going to look at them. So don't worry about the Chinese for now, just worry about the Pinyin, because Pinyin is the basis. When you've got Pinyin right and all the Chinese, don't know, the Chinese alphabet inside out, like me and many other speakers, that is time when we come to look at the characters just itself without Pinyin. So as I said, when there's a repeated character, the second character usually is toneless and neutral. In particular, this is just traditional northern dialect that we're looking at. Every different dialect has a different way of saying family members, and then that hence you probably don't realize that there are actually on top of my head, there are about 10 ways, 10 different ways you can translate from English to Chinese. Because there are 10 different alternatives for each family member. You just got to learn the ones I give you because they're the most basic, commonly used ones everyone will understand. So the first one, as I said, mama. Mama it means mother. Mama, your mother. Mama. Next one here, baba. Baba means father. Baba. Next one, 姐姐. 姐姐, that means sister, your older sister. 姐姐. 妹妹. 妹妹, that means younger sister. 妹妹. 哥哥. 哥哥, it means older brother. Older brother says 哥哥. Next one, 弟弟. 弟弟, as in younger brother. 哥哥 is older brother and 弟弟 is younger brother. That's older brother, younger brother. Again, this is where sort of not just Chinese, but Korean, Japanese, Chinese, all these Asian languages, especially in the Oriental languages, so of all the Oriental communities and countries, it's complex with the family members because there are different ways. It's not like in English when you just call your grandparents, so grandmother and grandfather, no, it's your mother or father's side, but it's different because it gets complicated. Your uncle, your cousin, or your aunt, it depends whether it's on your mother and father's side, and there are different characters for different ones, and it's said differently. So the paternal grandfather, that means the grandfather from your father's side, so your father's father, we call him 爷爷. 爷爷. Paternal grandmother, so your father's mother, is 奶奶. 奶奶. Maternal grandmother, so your mother's mother, is 姥姥. 姥姥. Obviously, lots of this has radicals. Most of them have radicals here that we have, except two of them. You don't really have to worry about them now. I will go through them and we'll look at what each means. The next one is 谢谢. 谢谢, which means thank you or thanks in Chinese. These are only just a few I've included. There are more to come. We will look at them in about lesson 7, 8, 9, all these stuff. Just the basic stuff. Now, these four other toneless characters. These four characters are usually used at the end of sentences. It's to show that either this thing's happened, or it's going to happen, or it hasn't happened yet. Or, used in decision making. And one of the things we are going to look at, and this I have to say in this slide, is that we're going to look at this stuff in more depth when it comes to lesson 8, 9-ish. Because in particular, if you are actually Korean and you are watching my videos and you've learned, or if you learn Korean and you're fluent in the language, you'll find Chinese pretty easy. The word order is very simple and it's very, very closely related. Both languages have something in common, and it's called verb conjugation. Basically, what that means is we don't really, in such, have tenses, as in we. What I mean by that is, it's not that we don't have tenses, we do. Every language has a tense, but unlike European languages where they change the ending to verbs, like for when you are talking about things like I, you, he, she, they, we, that, that's in French as well, and German, they change the endings, and even when it's past tense, they change the endings. And Oriental languages and any Oriental language like Chinese, Korean, Japanese, we don't change the ending of the verb. The verb doesn't change. Instead, we add another character along with the verb to show that actually indicates that it's past tense. And it's normally added with the verb. So you've got a verb, the subject, the verb, the pronoun, and then the ending. So that verb, pronoun, ending part comes together to tell you the tense. And these are the endings that are commonly used. These are the ones that we use a lot, which are toneless, i.e. they're neutral tones. So you can obviously realise there's no tone markers above each of these vowels. So the first one is just like saying the English equivalent of a short toned L, as in L, and it's just L. The second one is ba, ba, not B, but ba, ba. You've got to pronounce all characters, and that's for sure. Ba. Next one is ma, ma, not ma, but as in mum, but ma, ma, ma. Not as in the equivalent to the English M, ma. Next one is duh, duh, duh. If this is used, this is the one, this third one, this fourth one actually, is used commonly within sentences saying that it belongs to someone or it's there, or you're saying the thing, really, like, really, that's used within the sentence. So that's also part of the verb conjugation process. These three are used commonly at the end. This one is the one that's used between. This one has actually got two ways to pronounce it. You can pronounce it the or the, and depending on where you come from or what dialect you're going to speak with, it's normally pronounced d, as in the long D in English, d. What d? Because there is another character for the, ta de, ta di. This is d. So if I pronounce them again, la, ba, ma, di. Some people say ma, how ma, but how ma, yeah. La, ba, ma, da. La, ba, ma, di. That can be da or di. It doesn't matter. You've got to find what context you use it in. A lot of Chinese people say di, some say da. This character is not polyphonic, so don't worry about it yet. With neutral tones, so I just say it again, reiterate, the vowel in particular is shortened. So you pronounce it shortened but sweeter, like la, ba, ma, da, or di. D is just not used a lot, but da is the correct one. La, ba, ma, da. This can be used at the end of a sentence, like saying, is that yours? You'll be saying, 这是你的吗? Or just 这是你的. So that's just an alternative. So you don't have to understand what I'm saying now, but I'm just giving you examples. Neutral tone, remember that the vowels shorten in length. So it's a sustaining length. So you just shorten them like and it's sweeter. So if I pronounce all of the Chinese alphabet in fifth tone, you probably get a feeling what it sounds like. There are some that we don't even use fifth tone with, which is like last few, not often. So if I just say the English equivalent to the one, I say like A, I, O, U, and you probably say A in the fifth tone is E in the fifth tone is So it's less of the A sound with a sound, like la. that's the E. The I in the fifth tone, which is not commonly used, is E. O in the fifth tone is O. And U in the fifth tone is I. In the fifth tone for U, which is U with the umlaut, is I. But do not worry about O, U, and U and E in the fifth tone because they're not commonly used. Just and A. Of course, we come to the end of this lesson now. Of course, practice makes perfect. You're probably wondering what this top phrase means. This is an ancient phrase brought back to the modern period about 6,000 years ago in China, and it just basically means practice makes perfect. It's the translation. There are alternative translations, the modern way of translating, but these ancient phrases, I'm going to come through and refer to them in the coming slides. They are actually part of Chinese literature, and they have very special word order to them. And this particular one is called 树能生巧. 树能生巧. 树能生巧, as they say. Some people pronounce the first one wrong, as in 树. It's 树能生巧. 树能生巧. So practice makes perfect. And on Google, you probably translate it like that. But if you translate it word by word, it does not make sense at all if you try that. And if I did that, it would sound like this. Because practice has so many different ways of saying it. You can say you're doing something as practice. Yeah, 练习 is practice. So if we translated word by word, it would be 练习生巧 or 练习让你非常好, which doesn't really make sense. So we just say 书能生巧. 书能生巧. Tones. 书能生巧. Okay, let's see you in the next lesson. I was just repeating one more time. For the next lesson, it's going to be a combination of me doing the writing and talking. And there will be a little assessment in the next one, but it's just like practice, not really assessment. I've given you the word, just practice writing it. It's not really assessment, not be graded or marked. Okay, and see you lesson 3.